What's up, guys? Welcome back to the infamous project. The sun is starting to go down because it's late in the afternoon, and what does that mean? It means it's time to play with the tbox-Fox. So we left off the last video with a little bit of a reveal, walk around of a couple of the, I guess, quick little modifications that I did to the car. And remember, guys, this is all like fun and games. Like, I never really intended for this to go as far as it has. In fact, I'm kind of surprised that I haven't even ripped the motor out or anything yet, because I'm still kind of enjoying messing around with it. So first things first, is I know a lot of people have said, it's like, well, what's the deal with this one rear wheel here in the back? Well, here's the deal. You can see I've actually tried to cut through it with a cutoff wheel, and that lug nut, what's left of it, that shitty tuner nut, that stripped, and then tried using extractors on it, it just kept breaking and stripping, and that's the only thing holding this wheel on. These nuts are actually loose. I was hoping that, you know, maybe driving a little spiritedly would knock that off, or something would break. And long story short, I think I'm gonna have to torch that off. Other than that, I'm gonna mess around, I think, with a little bit of engine stuff today. I want to do some old school stuff, like check the TPS, maybe check the timing. There's actually a check engine light, so I need to find out what that's about. I'm surprised the damn light even works on this thing. And there is one other issue that you guys wouldn't have known in the videos, is that it took a while for the car to get started, and sure enough, anytime that I want to start the car, I gotta like just pump the shit out of the gas pedal to get it to fire up. But once it's going, it's fine. So I don't know if it could be computer related or what the deal is. I've got an extra computer, and this one is actually worse than the one that's in the car. If you guys remember, this is the one that I said was like at the bottom of an ocean. Like, look at this. And believe it or not, this actually ran the last part's car. So we have it, and it's an A9P. There's an A9P in the car. Be curious to know if it works and has any difference. So that's the type of stuff that we're messing around with today on this video. Stick around. We'll splash the intro screen. We'll come right back and get right into this thing. All right, back to the interior. There's one thing that I want to do. This is a quick win, is I got my red LED bulbs. So instead of the blue, we will change them out to red. And I'm not too sure where the courtesy light is. That should be underneath here on this side. So I'm going to do a little bit of digging, see if I can't find it. Maybe someone just messed around with stuff, knocked it loose, and it's not sitting where it should be. I found the courtesy light housing. It's way back here where it shouldn't be. Looks like they just kind of looped a bunch of wires together here. Oh. I kind of have a feeling this wiring harness might have been out of the car at one point. Anyways, very tight fit. Come on, there we go. Oh, I'll just, there you go. I'll dangle it nearby where it's supposed to be. There we go. There we go. All right, so before I go swapping the computer out, let's get a reading on what the code is that the car currently has. And watch out for that nice hood. So let's see here. Let's see if we actually have a connector. Well, that's interesting. I wonder why. Oh, the windshield washer bottle's out of it. Okay. We definitely stripped this harness down. Up in here, let's see if the neutral safety, for whatever reason, they might have run it in here. It's going in. I feel like they've bypassed it. Alright guys, so we've got some custom wiring in here. You can see the harness is actually going down along the bottom side, and they've wrapped it. You know, all these connectors. Someone's tried to do like a poor man's wire tuck, I guess. Oh, I'm sure this is a vacuum leak right here. So I'll get a better rubber to cap that off, because I'd already capped off some of these other potentially bad ones. These were good. Unreal that this harness is still doing what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, they got a ground on the valve cover. Okay, let's open this up. So this is the first time I've ever seen this done. Very interesting. So someone kind of knew what they were doing, but I've got the actual plug, so I'm going to get my bypass plug. We'll plug that in there. Who knows, maybe one of these resistors is toast. So here we go. So that should fool the EGR and take care of that. So this car also is not running a coolant temp sensor, which would normally be up here. So I know that that'll cause a lot of issues in terms of the car's drivability, unless for whatever reason this motor actually has a tune on it. Anyways, let's put our rubber cap on here. All right, so we don't have a check engine light, and the other kind of suspect thing is the fuel pump never shuts off. It's just kind of always on. So I'm just going to go ahead and swap this computer with this other shitbox computer and see if our tbox-Fox will work any better with a shittier computer. Let's see here. You never know, right? Like being wide open like that. Oh, more dirt and debris. All right, let's see if the fuel pump stays on. It does. There's no change there. Oh. Okay, so there's definitely something wrong with the other computer, because the car fired right up on the shitbox computer. I don't know if it had anything to do with that EGR plug. Check engine light still is on though. the car starts up easier, that's a good thing. Let's see here. Let's see if we can clean off that crank. Oh, we are leaking a little bit of oil at the front there on my concrete. I was actually raving about how this car didn't leak anything, and well, it's starting to leak. Now that I'm having fun with it, all the troubles are going to come out. 0.83. Oh, we got some opportunity here. Let me go get the Phillips screwdriver. Oh, I know this has been kind of debunked online, but I'm just one of those guys that rather see it around 0.99. We can get it there. There's 0.94. Do a little bit of clearancing here. There we go. So 0.99, good with that. What else can we mess around with here? We don't know what's causing the check engine light. It could be an array of things, unfortunately. We could test out the timing, since I did have the distributor out. Alright guys, I don't know if you guys can see, there's 3 white marks right on the top there. The first one is actually 10 degrees. The second one is going to be probably about 14, and the other one's really high. So they had this thing cranked up in terms of the timing that it was running. So just because the fuel in this thing is old, I'm definitely not going to go to the top one. I'm going to go for the middle one. So like the hot timing, I want to say we're probably about 14 or 15 degrees right here. Still have that check engine light. Alright guys, so the car was idling pretty good. Timing set, TPS is set. Got the vacuum leak fixed and did the little EGR thing. So we can't pull codes, unfortunately. I don't know, maybe there's some bad O2 sensors in here. The other thing that could be causing it to run rich too is obviously no coolant temp sensor. So they have, what have they done here? So where the coolant temp sensor normally is, they've put the mechanical gauge sending unit. And what are they running over here? This is actually capped off on this side. It's quite dumb. I don't know why they didn't put that. Well, I guess it's a different size. That's why they ran that in there. Not sure what their justification for that is. We could potentially fix that. I just don't know if that'd clear. No, it's not going to clear that fuel rail. I'd have to pop the fuel rail off in order to do it, or I could potentially grab a sensor, stick it over on that side, extend this harness and plug it on. I bet you that's what the check engine light is in reality. Let's see if I have a sensor and can even maybe even entertain swapping or messing with that. There we go. Wiring this up just about as good as we did the radio. But funny thing is, this is probably the average person's wiring. Sad to say, but some Sometimes the truth hurts. All right, so let's see if I can get that on there. Oh yeah. All right guys, let's start this thing up. See if we still have our check engine light. I thought it was going to be gone there for a second. So I guess the other question mark could be, you know, are all these injectors firing properly? Are we firing on all cylinders? You know, is everything doing what it's ultimately supposed to be doing? Let me plug the other computer back in real quick. I'm curious to know if the car fires up as good now that we've done our few little changes. All right. Would you look at that? See, it's weird, right? How I have to give it throttle on this computer. Ooh, it's very gassy smelling too. So you see that? Unless I give it throttle, it doesn't want to fire. That problem's going to be gone. So the shitty A9P is back in. Look at that. So not sure what the deal is. That other computer definitely has an issue. So I'm going to leave the under the sea computer in the car because I'd rather it start up more easily. All right guys, so last but not least, I think this thing deserves a compression test real quick so we can figure out how healthy potentially this motor is and whether it's worth doing anything more, taking the motor, fixing more stuff on the car. Let's see what the numbers look like. Our number 8 and final. Pretty much 185. All right, let me stretch my back out there. Laying over these lowered cars is a lot of work. So there we have it, guys. Compression across the motor is actually really good. The lowest reading we got was about 173 the second time that I tested cylinder number 1. And the highest reading we got was 190, and pretty much everything else lived around 180 to 185. So if we're looking at 190 and we take 19 off of that, that would put us at 171, and our lowest reading was 173. So we're probably 8% variance somewhere in there, which is perfectly fine. And we have to remember, this motor really hasn't had that much run time since it's actually been running again. So if anything is still a little mucked up, stuck up, needs a little bit moving, a little bit more movement rather, then there's still some time for that. But I am confident that this is actually a really good motor. Sucks about the check engine light stuff and not being able to troubleshoot it. I don't know if it's worth cutting in, trying to find the section of the harness where they would have cut the connector out. That's pretty much it. The computer thing is super odd as well. I'm not too sure what the deal is there, where the computer that came with the car, it does run the car, but you need to pump the throttle in order to get it to start. When I put an absolute shitbox computer in that I'm surprised even works, and it fires the car on its own without having to give it any throttle at all. So we've adjusted the TPS, we've checked the timing, also established that the timing was really high, like upwards of 16 degrees in some instances. So they were probably running some really high octane fuel when they were drag racing it. And, you know, they had the marks there. It was marked pretty much 10, 14, 16. And we went for right around 14, the 14-ish mark on there. The car does need better fuel. The fuel that this car is running is out of that parts car that I have not put fuel in that car in 2 years at least, and God knows, maybe that fuel is maybe even a little bit older. So burning all of this older stuff out, mind you, doesn't look anything near like the fuel that came out of it, but we'll try and get that out, get some fresh stuff in, which means I need to drive it around a little bit more. So in conclusion, and I'm reaching out to you guys that are watching to the end because you guys ultimately love the tbox-Fox, and I'm warming up to it. You know, I was gung-ho. I said, you know what, I'll just mess around with it, make it look kind of cool. Nothing that's supposed to be like running around on the street. You know, the struts are gone. Guys, the toe in the front has at least an inch of play on either side. So when I'm like backing down the driveway, it's like that rear wheel steer, and you can, like, the car's just doing this the whole way down when you put it into reverse. So ultimately, what does the car need for all those people that say, put this car on the road and drive it? New bushings, like throughout. So we'll need control arms in the rear, uppers and lowers, the carrier bushings in the diff. Those will all need to be swapped out. Should do a fluid change, as we do know that there's 373s in the back there. Funny enough, you know, the brakes are okay. Even the emergency brake works. The booster does whoosh and does have a leak in there. So that could also be part of the issues causing a vacuum leak through the system. So it's going to need a new brake booster, new master cylinder, because this one is so dry rotted. It's actually like seeping a little bit out of the top. You can see all those cracks there. And gaskets in the motor, you know what, even though there's a few leaks, I'd probably just say leave it and send it. You know, the water temps, thermostat, all that stuff is working. 3G alternator's already on there. Maybe just double check the wiring on that. And the front end, we'd need new struts. Obviously, we need new shocks, and we would need new bushings and probably a whole new rack. That'd probably be the best way to go. That way we could fix our inner tie rods. We could do the outer tie rods. Probably need to do the ball joints. So full control arms in the lower. And then at that point, this car would be something that would potentially be safe to drive on the road. Would have to figure out the headlight situation. You know, all the parking lights work, but the actual headlights do not. But that's a pretty easy fix. So good wheels and tires, good motor, transmission grinds in third, but whatever, probably drain the fluid, throw some synchro mesh in there and send it, see what happens. Maybe even do half a quart of gear oil, just a little bit of secret sauce, see if it tightens anything up in there. What else? That's pretty much it, guys. It's looking fancy now in here though, right? Like the red courtesy lights. Gotta say, that turned out nice. So there you have it, the results of the tbox-Fox. Let me know what you guys think ultimately I should do with this car. Is it worth messing around with and making it like a little daily cruiser, show up to local show? I don't know if I can convince Gary to drive this thing across the country and make it up to Motor City Fox Fest. We would definitely have to do all of the things that I just spoke about, but there you have it, another one on the tbox-Fox. If there's something specific that you would like to see on this car content wise, let me know, because I think that's pretty much the extent of it. You know what I mean? Unless I'm going to go the rest of the way with it in terms of trying to get it on the road, the shipbox series is gonna pretty much end here. So unless you guys got some good ideas, let me know and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna jam these plugs all back in. Sun is actually going down, so gonna finish off the day here and sign off. Thank you again for all your support and following along as always, and we'll see you here next time on the Infamous Project.